Agenda, please.
Mayor Ford,
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to amend the agenda. I'd
Okay.
like to request to amend the agenda.
Okay, what is that?
Two items, actually. One, a discussion on term limits.
A discussion on term limits?
That's correct, sir.
Okay.
I'd like to make a motion to approve having a discussion on council term limits.
Is there a second to add this to the agenda? Is there a second to add this to the agenda? I have no second.
Okay. Thank you, sir. The next motion, I'd like to amend the agenda to have a discussion on the financial aspect of funding the remaining concerts of the 2025 concert season.
Okay. I was note for you in the public. Part of this, some of this is going to be discussed in executive session dealing with personnel and legal actions in in executive session.
Sir, the financial aspect should be discussed during a public meeting.
All right.
Discussing the financial aspect in executive session is a violation.
Okay. All right. Is there a second to the motion? Is there?
Mayor,
Yes, ma'am.
just for clarification purposes, do we have any of this on the agenda tonight for the amphitheater?
This is all, well,
This is a request to amend the agenda to have the discussion, to provide finance with guidance on how they are to fund the remaining concerts during the 2025 concert season.
Okay.
Mayor, I second.
okay, so Mr. Berry, second that. You had a question, ma'am.
Well, my question was whether or not we could agree to do it after executive session. So we can hear all the information first prior and then do a discussion.
This is to amend the agenda to have the discussion on how to provide guidance to the finance department on how to fund the remaining 2025 concerts.
Okay. And my question is, where would we put it on the agenda? Because I would like.
I'm just asking to amend the agenda to
Okay.
add the item for discussion.
Mayor.
Where the mayor chooses to put this on the agenda is up to him.
Yeah, what
I'm
happens?
just asking to amend the agenda.
Okay.
What happens is I typically go ahead and pick a spot on the agenda to place it. Okay, yes, Mr. Hazard.
Honestly, this item was going to be put on the agenda after the executive session, so it's fine.
Okay.
All right,
Mayor Ford,
yes, ma'am.
I want to make it clear, when we go into executive session, any discussions regarding finance or how we will finance the remaining concerts, any discussions in executive session is a violation.
Mayor,
Mayor.
Yes,
I could be
yes, sir.
recognized. Certainly, that's not. We plan on discussing personnel, real estate, and litigation.
That's correct.
And executive session as allowed under Georgia code.
That's correct.
That is the,
How we will fund the remaining concerts
It's on
does
the
not
agenda.
fall under personnel, litigation, or real estate.
the discussions in, Mayor, if I could be recognized.
Go ahead, sir.
The discussions in executive session will involve real estate, personnel, litigation. That's what we'll be discussing in executive session, and certainly we will adhere to that.
Okay, now, motion been made. Mr. Berry, second that. Any more comments?
I have a comment.
Yes, ma'am.
The only comment I have in regards to that is when you discuss things in executive session, even if it's something that we decide, we have to bring it out here for a vote.
Certainly.
So we have to disclose what was discussed if we're bringing it out for a vote. Part of the discussion in executive session may bring up some financial numbers, but it has nothing to do with not coming back out here and talking about that in the agenda. Some of it may go hand in hand, where you're talking about financials, but it's indirectly. Not to make a financial decision on anything, but that you have to have a totality of all the information at one point to talk, whether it's personnel, real estate, or litigation, and then bring it all out. You can't just skip a topic because it may very well be a part of it, but it's not something that we won't be repeating back out to the public. We're still going to have that agenda item on the meeting. I just don't want there to be like, oops, you said $5 and that's financial. No, we really have to discuss certain issues, but all of it in dealing with, if it's not executive session, will still be brought back out because it's still going to be a part of the agenda after the executive session. So I'm in agreement. I just want to be sure that people are aware that when we have executive sessions, sometimes when you're talking, you may be talking about real estate. Well, when we talk about real estate, we still have to talk about financials. But the financial component may be a number, and then we might have to come out here and vote on it, but we still have to go in there and talk about the financial piece, even though it is affiliated with the executive session. So I just, just for clarification, because there's been ongoing, questioning, ongoing comments, and I just want to make sure that we have everything, all bases covered with that. But it definitely will be brought back out to the public in regards to financials.
Mayor Ford.
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead, please.
Well, based on what Councilwoman Gant has just mentioned, I suggest that we have the discussion regarding the financials and how we will fund the remaining concerts prior to going into executive session. Because in executive session, there are only 3 things we should be talking about: personnel, real estate, and litigation matters. So let's talk about the financials prior to going into executive session. So we'll have all of the information we need when we go into executive session.
Mayor,
Yes, sir.
it's up to you where to place it on the agenda.
Well,
so-
normally, that's exactly what happens. I put it on the agenda, so after we agreed to add it. So I plan to add it at the end of the executive session. That's my intent.
I would, sir,
Yes?
so I'm making a motion to add this
You-
discussion to the agenda.
Okay, you made a motion.
And I
to-
prefer that we have the discussion regarding financials prior to going into executive session. Because if you're discussing or having staff to present the financials in executive session, you're in violation.
All right. Ms. Holliday, the motion was made originally, but it didn't state this way. It was seconded by Mr. Barrett, all right? So this is now a change or a change to that original motion.
There is no change. There's no change to my motion.
But hold a second.
Let me be clear. Is the motion to amend the agenda to add a discussion item?
That is correct.
Only, or is the motion to add a discussion item to be heard at a certain point on the agenda? Which is the motion?
My motion was to amend the agenda to have the discussions on the financials so that we could provide guidance to the finance department on how we can fund the remaining shows for the 2025 concert season.
Okay, so Mayor, if the motion is to add the item as a discussion item, that is the motion. As the presiding officer, you make a determination on
Bingo.
when and where it's placed on the agenda.
Thank you very much. And it's made by Mr. Barrett. Okay, all in favor of the motion, please indicate. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, all right. On that note, I will place at the end of the executive session. When we come back out from executive session, we'll have that discussion. Okay? Okay, so we got 3 votes.
I'd like to make a comment.
Okay, what's your comment?
My comment is, I asked to amend tonight's agenda to have a discussion on the financials and how we should provide guidance to our finance department to fund the remaining concerts. I understand that the council wants to defer this discussion, but it's an item that I asked to amend tonight's agenda. So I really want Mr. Malazzi to be able to share the financial information. You discussed it in executive session. We need that information shared with people right here in the community. That's what I asked for. I reiterated it before we went into executive session. Why do you keep hiding the information?
Oh, now that's a political stuff.
Not only are you hiding it from me, but you're hiding it from the public too. But if you want to defer it, so be it. You all got the votes. Mr. Barry is on the line. I'm sure he will approve deferring it as well.
He's already asked. Okay, now on that
Mayor, I
motion.
did would like to make one comment. Certainly, we in executive session, we discussed personnel, we discussed litigation. We certainly did do that as was prescribed and that we agreed to do. Is that correct?
We discussed
And real
all three.
estate, we discussed all three.
All right.
Okay, and
So
Mayor, if I may I please, from Mayor and Council, and I just want to say this because I don't want anyone alluding to the fact that there's some type of political stunt. I would like Mayor and Council to approve. Honestly, I know we can't talk about everything that we talked about in executive session. I don't even know how to say this. Let me just put it this way. No financials. We're talking about deferring. We got that advice from counsel, from our legal counsel, and from our staff. That's who we got it from. And we're taking the advice of legal counsel and staff, not from us. And we agreed to do this in a certain policy and procedure in a manner. And this is what we're doing. There's no conspiracy. It wasn't a 3 or 1 or 4 or 2 people. We can't vote. We can't vote in the executive session. There's a discussion and nothing, no, not one person in here said, I object to anything. I can't talk about it like that. But what I'm saying is, all of a sudden we get out here and we turn it. There's no turn here. The bottom line is, because there was real estate, personnel, and litigation issues that we decided there was nothing to talk about tonight. That was the end of the discussion. And we took the advice of the people that we pay. We took the advice of the people that we pay. And nobody objected to it. Nobody. And that's it.
All right, I need a motion to end our meeting, please.
So moved.
Is there a second?
I second.
All in favor, please indicate. Okay, Kyle.
Mayor Ford.
One step on Kyle. Thank you. Motion
Therefore-
adjourned.
I oppose, and my comments are for the record. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, Kyle. I appreciate you. See you. Talk to you later.
Oh, you can keep hiding if you want to. It's gonna all come out. It will.